What is going on? This is Altone, and today I want to talk to you about the radio settings on the Radiomaster TX16S. This is just a really brief, quick look overview of what those radio settings are, so you'll know what it is that you'll have the opportunity to adjust if you pick up this awesome radio. So let's get into it. When you first start up the radio, of course, it's going to come to whatever the last model was that you were flying. It's going to come to that model page. So let's go into System, and this is the next place that you're going to have a bunch of different places that you can go. Your Tools menu has a bunch of things here that there's a few things that you're possibly going to get into, but the main one for me is going to be ExpressLRS, and I'm going to have to go in and do some setup and configuration to ExpressLRS. But essentially right now it has your packet rate and all of that, power at 100 milliwatts and VTX administration. There's a bunch of things in here that I'm gonna end up having to get into. If you hold the return button down, it'll bring you back out. So this next one is your SD card. It does have information in there. If you want to see what firmware is actually listed on your SD card, you can see everything that's there as far as firmware is concerned. Same thing, images, you can go through, and the wonderful thing about this is it will show you for the images that are on your radio what those images are. So if you ever have a question about what images you have, let's go down a little bit. One of the things I was looking for is the background photo, and the background photo is actually not currently showing up in here. And then the next one is radio setup. You have your date, time, and different things. You can set up your sound, volume for beeps and all that kind of stuff. I still have my beeps turned on. Different things here, which I think are great as well. Different things like backlight. The backlight I'm actually going to have to check on my other one because I think the backlight is acting a little strange on my other radio. But that is your radio setup. Quite a few different pieces here, even setting the time and date and all that kind of stuff. Now your next one is themes, and I think this is great. Now I'm currently using the RC Video Reviews high contrast theme, but there are so many different themes in here, and if you go through and click on each one, it will show you the screens and what they're like. Some of these themes actually have a background photo, and if they have a background in the theme, then you are not going to be able to change that background. And that's the only thing I don't like about some of them. But you can go through and look at these different backgrounds and choose one, and then you can actually go in and configure those backgrounds as well to look the way you want it to. I've actually configured mine a little bit and changed this white up top to a gray. So I really like this particular one. So here you have your global functions. These global functions, you can add them in, and you can actually say what those global functions are, whether it's triggered by a switch, what that function is, what the value is, and then enable and disable it. And you can do that with the global functions, and those functions are going to be global for every model. All those functions should be available. Then you have trainer, and then your trainer information here that you'll be setting up. I have not worked with this particular screen myself. Again, this is one that you're not going to be using as a beginner, but it is available there, and I think that's great. And I'm actually going to be setting up one of my other radios as a trainer, and to connect to this radio to be able to train and take a couple of my friends and family out to fly and allow them to fly some of my planes. And then hardware, battery calibration, battery meter range, so much information in here. Mute if no sound. So what the mute if no sound, essentially sometimes you'll get a little background noise on your speaker. If you mute it, if no sound is playing, so if you flip a switch and it will unmute, play the sound, and then mute it back again. And so that will keep you from having speaker noise if that happens to be happening. So much other stuff here that really I'm going to have to dig into. I'm not familiar with much of it, and therefore as a beginner much of this you're not going to be using, but you can do quite a bit in here as well. And like I said, again, this is the reason why I love this radio so much. And last but not least, this screen here, well, it's not the last thing because I'm going to show you one other screen, but this screen here actually tells you the version and gives you information about the module versions and all that kind of stuff that you have on the radio. So if you want to see what module or what information that you have here on the module, mine is internal Crossfire because I have an internal ELRS, and then the date. All of this gives you information about the EdgeTX version that you have running on the radio. It is a firmware version 2.9.4, and the date that it was released, date and time it was released, and some other information here at the bottom. So I think these are absolutely great. So I only have one other screen that I want to share with you, and that's the telemetry screen. So here, essentially, this is kind of set up per model. This will actually allow you to add additional screens with additional information. So currently my model only has one screen available that shows the information about the model, but you can go in and add additional screens just by hitting the plus here and set up another screen, and then set up whatever widgets, set up your widget layout, how you want it to be laid out and what you want there. Not only that, but one of the other things that you can do is, if you go over here, is you can change the top bar information. So if you want to add widgets to your top bar, you see that line is there. Right now battery's holding up this space, but these areas are open. So I can put other information here as well if I decide I want to. You can change this entire screen out. Right now I have the model picture photo over on this side, and then some information about the control sticks and whatnot on this side, and that's what that is. So that is all the screens we currently have on this radio using EdgeTX 2.9.4 as I've recently updated it. I just wanted to give you an overview so that you can get a good look at what this radio has to offer, because I do believe that this is one of the best radios for a beginner. I really do. Thanks again for stopping by and checking this out with me. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.